Okay, so welcome Christos Koutsuras from Ei8ht Entertainment, the man that created Ei8ht Entertainment.
Thanks,
This
Brad.
is episode 2, season 1 of my podcast, Andrew Avi and guests. So just a slight introduction. It was very hard to find information about you. I do remember that we met around 2006 or 7. I can't remember the exact date, the year, but I sort of put it around there, and it was at Emma's party. Do you remember that? You had a
I do actually, man.
yeah.
It was a while
It was
ago,
the 21st, and that was my earliest recollection of us meeting. And then after that, I think we just touched base, and then I sort of approached you because when at that time I was running nights, and then sometimes got you to DJ, and that's how our friendship sort of just went on and kept on going.
Correct.
Afterwards, I'm not sure if that's how it was.
No, I do remember that. And the thing is, I know we were talking about this last time, but basically I think after a couple connections with our gigs, whether it was your night or another private gig, I feel like obviously at the time we had a few mutuals as well.
Yeah.
But like any friendship and relationship.
Oh yeah.
See one, next week you see him again.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But I think that's when I started entering more of the club stuff early on.
Yeah.
You're already doing it.
Yeah.
And then even a few privates as well. So, but yeah, man, it's been a while.
Yeah, and I have here that you're a man of many talents. You're my therapist, is that correct?
That's
my
correct.
therapist.
By trade.
Personal trainer, a DJ, a father, and a husband.
I'll take that.
What
sure.
else? What's
I have a habit, so yes, you're
Yeah.
correct. I have a habit of turning anything that I like into partial business or a full-time career.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened. But yeah, by trade, I'm a myotherapist. That's what I went to school and studied.
Yeah.
Which I still practice to today on a casual basis. Got into the health and fitness industry, did PT, and then I sort of hung around that sort of field of PT and massage and treatments, but in the training field.
Yeah.
That's what I liked and gravitated to.
Yeah.
And that was back in the day when PT, everyone was a PT, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was the thing.
It was a thing. But the Maya stuff helped me give me a little bit of an edge and just a different way of getting clients.
Added
and
services.
business. Yeah, and it was good fun.
Yeah.
But, that's it.
And
man.
I feel like you've applied that throughout your whole life. Like even as a DJ, like slowly you've been adding services and certain things but we'll get into that later.
Sure.
I just wanted to, as part of the introduction, sort of get to know you a little bit better and the audience as well. Like things, I can just assume that you're from the west, the Werribee area is Hoppers Crossing. So is that where you grew up the majority of your life? Is that
No.
Did you
So
go to school
that was
there?
later in life. I grew up in St Albans to start off with, and then a lot of family and friends were Sunshine, Deer Park, Kings Park. Pretty much from that point onwards, I was there till about 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And from there I moved to Melton, was there for, I think till about 18, 19.
Yeah.
Which was different, good old Melton. So there's no Caroline Springs, nothing in between.
Yeah.
Everyone felt like I moved to the bush.
Yeah.
And then, after that moved to Hoppers initially with my oldies because of the work for PT and stuff like that. I was a bit older, bit change of scenery.
Yeah.
And all these years later, man, ended up, once I got married and stuff, hung around the area. And
So which high school did you go to? Like in Hoppers? Like
No, I stayed in St Albans. So I went to Brimbank
Brimbank?
College, yeah.
See, I didn't know that, man.
Yeah. St Albans for primary.
I thought you were always from Hoppers. That's right.
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
there you go. Good old Brimbank.
So when did you start taking up like the DJing and music? Like when is it that you started getting into that part of your life?
I reckon just as I was exiting high school. So year 12, starting to obviously go out and whatever.
Yeah.
By that stage as well, DJing wasn't like it is today, right? You know, you can get controllers and different types of gear that you can just start DJing with. Back then, it was the original CDJs, and it felt like DJs were a bit of a pedestal in a good way.
Yeah,
Proper artists.
yeah.
Different to today, of course. But around 17, 18, the DJ side of it.
Yeah.
But music, man, has been instilled in
So
me.
were the 1000s out when you first started, or was it the CD 200s?
No. Mark threes. Mark threes were like
Really?
the bee's knees.
So they were already out.
Yeah, and I had been
wow.
playing on a mate's one that he bought, just one deck. That's it, no mixer. So we were looping and doing stuff.
Oh, no way.
And looking back now, you think, shit, you take one piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we've got one piece. It was like a jigsaw puzzle. Like, all right, what's next?
You got to buy a mixer, yeah.
Yeah. But that's how you start and learn.
Yeah.
Appreciate the gear. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I remember when I first started, like I was on the 100s or 200s, I can't remember. Like the ones that the lid would like go up.
Yeah, come up like a proper Discman.
Yeah. It was like there was ones like that. I saw the whole evolution, man.
Yeah, that's good, man. You've seen the background of it.
Yeah, it was pretty pretty crazy. But so did you always love music, or is it that like?
So I was playing piano or keyboard from about age of I think 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And as the years rolled by, it sounds a bit cliche, but I'd sit and listen to all my dad's music. So my dad was a music collector.
Oh, nice.
Of all sorts.
Yeah.
And typical hi-fi system, tape deck, CDs, headphones on, even a bit of vinyl, learning how to use it and just listen to it. Mm-hmm. And then before you know it, man, remember when the 100% hits used to come out? CDs every year, 96, 97, 98.
Yeah.
All the lyrics on the little books. Just like sing and read them, but man, I used to sit there for hours on end. So
wow.
That coincided with playing music, I guess. Was always there. Just loved music.
Yeah, we've come a long way, like from the music. Like I don't think people appreciate.
It's too accessible now.
Yeah, it's really accessible. Like back in the day, there were singles, and then there was like these So Fresh or compilations, are pretty much from big companies like Sony and LG, would just collect all these songs and then put it on a CD for everyone to access it. There was the radio was like but it was just like that was the way to do it,
It was crazy, man, because you look back at this stuff and we're doing the same deal but in a different manner. We're doing it through MP3 pools and charts and stuff like that. But man, you tend to appreciate it because you have to go digging, you have to go searching through all the tracks. When the Discmans came out, man, I'd listen to the same single 100 times because I had nothing else.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like you get to appreciate the songs more back then. And then you start to pick your flavor a little bit more as you get older.
I remember I used to have a cassette recorder. So the only way for me to listen to a song repeatedly, it was to wait until on the radio. So I had to wait until it was played on the radio, just hope and be like
at
ready.
The right time. Yeah.
And then as soon as they'll start playing, bang.
On the tape.
Yeah, on the tape. And then just record it. And that's how you make your own playlist.
Yeah, of course, man.
It's just like, and now it's just like, any song, just go on Apple or Spotify or whatever, and you just type it in and it was just like out.
Pros and cons, man. You've got such access to the world's music, but it's saturated. I actually always used to think do you remember blog spots?
I've heard of that.
Like people used to write blogs, right?
Yeah.
There used to be blog spots where you can put links and stuff, and people used to host music there, Zippy shares and stuff like that.
Oh,
and that was,
no way.
Yeah, and I made one, and I used to appreciate it because people like.
I remember Zippy Share. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, you got like 10 songs.
Yeah,
and I'd listen to each one, and I'm thinking, man, someone's taken time to produce these tracks.
Yeah.
Like now you do that by millions.
Yeah,
how are you supposed to find the gems?
Yeah, by the remixes, the intros.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Just quality over quantity.
Wicked Mix, X Mix. Sierra Mix, Funky Mix.
Man, I used to get a lot of you. You kicked off my R&B collection.
They were so hard to find them, and good quality ones too. But like I was wondering. So I remember you. So when we met at Emma's birthday, you was that when you sort of started your private gigs, like as a DJ? Is that how you sort of just started? You were already just doing some gigs then?
Pretty much. So
Yeah.
the private side or private gigs
Yeah.
side of things was instigated after high school, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
And then I thought, all right, well, you can get a DJ kit and maybe make some money from it.
Yeah.
To be honest, it wasn't about that cash. It was like getting the equipment. I thought that was
Yeah.
cool.
So everything you made sort of went back into the
Sure.
DJing.
Yeah. But I didn't actually buy a kit until maybe a couple of years later. It was more going out. I had a few friends that are a little bit older that had a DJ kit.
Yeah.
And I'd go there and muck around and practice. And just like a little kid, you're like, man, I hope to have this one day type thing.
Yeah.
But it allowed me to practice. That was the key thing, and understand the equipment.
Yeah.
But amongst all that, I used to muck around with virtual DJ like so did many other people.
Oh, okay.
So I used to take my computer,
Yeah.
my tower, the old towers.
Yeah. Wow.
Ask my dad, hey, you using the dial up tonight or take the monitor? 'Cause
Yeah.
Obviously by that stage I was obviously 18 driving. And do a few house parties, but proper with a hi-fi system,
Yeah.
jack cables,
Yeah.
mouse, keyboard, and DJ off virtual DJ.
Wow.
And do a couple parties, not paid, just for fun.
Yeah.
But you look back at it, and that sets you up for setups
Yeah,
and understanding you're playing to a crowd and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a kit till about 20, I think it was about 21, as the CDJ 2000s came out. So
was that 2000? That would have been what, 2012 or something like that? 2000s?
No, earlier, man. I finished my course and I bought it, I think shortly after that, about 2009, 10, around that part.
Okay. Yeah.
But I feel like I was a little bit spoilt because I didn't have a kit and I went straight into 2000s.
Right.
So there was a little bit of that pushback from some people going,
Oh, really?
you didn't start on vinyl and where's your journey? But
Yeah.
I did in other ways and try to learn it, man. But I'm infatuated with music and technology, as you know. So that naturally came. Anything electronics, I'll figure out how to use and what came about it. And then that was it, man. It was week by week.
And so when you slowly started doing private gigs for free, we all sort of start growing that way. And then after that, like you just got busier and busier, obviously, and you made moves into the wedding industry. Was it just one wedding, or were you just like grabbing whatever and then just booking?
In relation to private gigs, it was pretty much that. Yeah, like you're doing a couple gigs for free and for parties and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was literally doubling. So
Yeah.
one would turn into two turn into four, and it went on that way. But it was always on the side, right?
Yeah.
Bit of cash, bit of fun.
Yeah.
And with each gig, I'd purchase a bit more equipment.
Yeah.
And we all go through the stages of
Yeah.
speakers on the floor, then you can afford stands, then a lighting
I still
bar,
got yeah.
cables wrapped
love
up
speakers on the
everywhere.
floor.
But that's part of the fun. But
Yeah.
First wedding, I think, would have been maybe 4 or 5 years later. So because I was still on the younger side, I had done a lot of club work and private events.
Yeah.
Weddings though, it was my mate's brother's wedding, which was the first one, and I obviously do remember it quite well, and he literally pushed me into it. You can DJ, I need you to my wedding. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
He's like, yes. I'm like, it's the same as any other party, it's me. And he actually made me MC, which I didn't want to do. So
Wow.
it was a push. It was actually forced
First
me.
wedding and MC. You got a DJ and MC.
Yeah. And we just played that card of, it's all of us here. What if I make a mistake? Who cares? We don't care. Just treat it like a normal party. But once again, you need to be pushed a little bit.
Yeah. That's interesting, man.
That was the first one.
And then after that, it just snowballed. Like you just did one wedding, and then you just got a couple more, and then slowly just
correct.
started increasing.
I felt like birthdays and all the rest of it was still occurring, but maybe as I was getting older, in my mid-20s, everyone was getting engaged and married.
Okay.
So naturally, I mean, there was a few other private function DJs.
Yeah.
But I think I just had a good circle of people.
Yeah.
And I was that person, you know, and which stemmed from high school. So what I was saying before, I was burning CDs for people. I was making lists. I was making mixes. Then
A lot of work, man.
Yeah, but I loved it,
You
man.
loved it, yeah.
I loved it. So
yeah.
this is the whole, once again, I'll say it again, it's the whole cliche of it's a natural progression from me enjoying it, which has led to today being a full-time job, but in my head, I still perceive it as a hobby.
Yeah.
If I keep that mentality, it's good because I still have fun with it.
Yeah. So when did you officially? I sort of have an idea, but what year did you start? Obviously, you started increasing the amount of weddings, and then at some point, you're like, okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm just gonna focus on more weddings or Ei8ht Entertainment.
Sure.
Because I know you do some corporate stuff. I remember you telling me that you went to High Point a couple of times and do launches or just those late night, what they call it, late night trading.
Trading, yeah.
And even Bunnings. And I'm like, what are you doing at Bunnings, mate? And you're like, they have a full on, they have kids and everything and music. I'm like, I wouldn't know what to play.
It's actually funny you bring that up. I forgot about the Bunnings one. But I think they were awesome opportunities because it's not like I go looking for that. Like, I'm not knocking on Bunnings door to say, hey, do you need a DJ? I think it's just led to, once again, building a network and people around me and meeting people, I should say, has led me to, hey man, I'm a manager of here. We're doing this here. And then they led to more weddings as well. So it's a bit of a combination of everything come together, which, once again, when you look back on, it's cool because this is how you diverse yourself. But you can also choose to stay in a sector. Like, I'm just doing weddings. I'm never doing a birthday before. So to answer your question, about 2014, 15, I just felt like majority of my work was slowly becoming weddings per every 2 or 3 weeks. You know, and then it became shorter. Every second week I'm doing a wedding plus a few functions. And then, almost every week or every couple of weeks, it was just weddings more so. And the scales were tipping to that side of things.
Right. And that's when you just launched Ei8ht Entertainment, or was Ei8ht Entertainment already existed?
No, it was already existing from officially 2011 is when, like, registered a name and
something legit.
Just have it. It was legit. Yeah, that's right. Had an ABN and all the rest of it. And I think due to my lifestyle and work, I was able to manage both. So gym, massage, DJing, those 3 were a combination of my full-time work. So I had time to do extra work and gigs and stuff. And I don't know any better. I've done this for such a long time. That's what I've always done. So I'm quite used to working multiple things in a week.
Right.
And that's why I can just fill my week up as much as I can.
Nice.
Not sleep as much. Fill my week Monday to Sunday, which, there's a bit of a hustle mentality there, which is fine. But I must stress that I don't know any better. I've never worked for a 9 to 5 for someone with a salary and stuff. Ever.
That's so cool, man.
Ever. Aside from a part-time job at Subway, which you probably remember, but it was a part-time job from 18 to like 21. So even though I was working for someone, it was a little bit different.
A little bit different. So do you still do currently myotherapy and personal training, or is that taking a back seat right now?
So PT was given up almost 2 years ago. Myo was always casual in between all that.
Right.
So out of the 3, Myo was probably the bottom. And just doing it in spurts with the clients that I had. And PT was 2 years ago is when I called quits. Just based on evaluating everything at that point in time. And
that's basically because Ei8ht Entertainment just grew that much that you expanded. So you started having some of your mates, other DJs, also take on jobs that you couldn't do. So, but under the banner of Ei8ht Entertainment.
Correct. So it was probably happening. Actually, no, it was happening prior to those 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But once again, due to the nature of the work, I was able to juggle it all.
Right.
So there wasn't a clear cut off where I had to stop everything.
Yeah,
It was keep building.
Yeah.
And because I had a bit more time in the week amongst my PT and myo stuff, I think I just had a bit more of a window to grow things.
Right.
So yeah, had people work for me as subbies, which was pretty much typically all the mates.
Yeah.
Do this for me for an extra $50 and whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And then probably soon after that, when I started realizing there was a fair bit of work coming in,
Yeah.
and I needed more people to service it,
Yeah.
is where I had to sort of think in a bit more of a business structure.
Yeah.
And booking forms, and this is the process of things.
Yeah.
And make it a bit more legit. But essentially 2 years ago is when I had to make a call, and I just had to keep it simple by evaluating time. Because obviously by that stage, 2 little ones, came out of COVID.
Yeah, COVID. How did that hit you, man? I mean, when personally, we were talking with Evangeline.
Yeah.
And she said that partly COVID was the catalyst that sort of helped her skyrocket, because there was such a backlog and overbookings of weddings happening. And I think a lot of people were just like having some sort of FOMO as well, like thinking it's going to close down, we need to have our wedding soon.
Sure.
And so she was just booking left, right, and center. I think that helped her. I mean, I benefited from it as well.
Yeah.
But during COVID and trying to reorganize and rebook dates and all that was just hell.
Of course.
Man. So I imagine you, because it's just me.
Sure.
You have multiple subbies and a lot more gigs to organize and reschedule. So how was that?
It was interesting. The short story of it all is it was okay. It was okay. Got through it.
Yeah.
Exactly to your point. There's obviously subbies working under me, which then led to how many gigs are they allocated to plus my own.
Yeah.
I think due to maybe the structure that I had, or maybe the trust with everyone, that everyone just sort of stuck it out.
Yeah.
But I can tell you there was close to about 60 reschedules within COVID, which, as you know, in our industry, like 60 events or 60 weddings predominantly is a big number.
Yeah, it is a big number.
With all the DJs attached to it.
Yeah.
So everyone held off, which is a great thing. And we got through the other side, and exactly right, there was an excess amount of gigs coming through in the industry that had to be filled. Other businesses shut down, or DJs, bands, whatever it may be, had stopped or couldn't afford to trade or whatever it was.
Right.
So that became extra work for us on a Monday or a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because the weekends were getting filled up. And I think that's what helped push everyone's calendar a bit more to say, hey, we're really busy. Now the
opportunity, there's an opportunity for everyone to sort of really gain from it. Yeah.
But yeah, I think going into COVID, there was quite a bit of work already established. It's not so much that we grew a lot in that. I think just we had trust, we had communication with everyone.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, as those started to filter out and servicing them, there was just maybe them telling other people and the business just growing in general.
Do you think COVID, like during these times, I think it was like a reset in a way for many things. Like I think for certain businesses, there was an opportunity to sort of skyrocket and grow a great amount.
Yep.
For many, it was like an opportunity. I think everyone benefited to some point. And I think a lot of people coming out of COVID also took on their passions, because they were like
100% agree.
Yeah, so I saw a big growth of new photographers and new DJs and new companies, and I was like, "Oh, what's going on, man?" Like,
which can be scary, because now essentially they're your competition, right? But depends on everything as a overall scale of things. You know, you can look at it as competition, or It's just growth for the industry.
Yeah.
And if you're already established, then it's going to help
Yeah.
you. Everyone comes up together type thing.
Yeah.
But same here. I had a lot of people that I knew around me that became self-employed,
Yeah.
which I got excited for.
That's awesome.
Whenever someone starts up their own
business.
brand, their own
Yeah.
thing, I get excited because I know how that feels.
Yeah.
And I fully agree. Yeah, people left their jobs. People understood there was more to it. They can kick off their passion.
Yeah.
And give it a shot.
Would you say now your full time is just to manage and to make bookings for entertainment? It's like this is your full time thing now, apart from being a dad.
Yeah, 100%. So
Yeah.
Ei8ht Entertainment is full time. 100%. It's been like that officially since I guess stopped PT.
Yeah.
If I had to draw a line in the sand.
That's right. I think
Yeah.
it's just like
because I had to let go of something else.
Yeah.
But it was already running full time, and sometimes people don't quite understand that because maybe even say for yourself, people push us into the whole it's just weekend work, and
No, it's not.
no. But the question that I get and I have to laugh is so Christos, what else do you do during the week? I'm like, so I just play the card. I'm like, nah, not much. Just watch Netflix and I'll wait till Friday. Just wait till Friday.
I'll wait till Friday.
And people, I promise you, I'm not even lying. People believe it because I think it's a perception on their end. Going,
Yeah.
oh, really? I'll go, no, man. Bookings, admin, paying people, marketing, promoting. You're your own accountant. You're your own, and then all your personal stuff. But I enjoy explaining that to people because I think if you give people context to things, it helps everyone across the board, whether you're photographer, video, band, DJ.
I think it's a very, I mean, unless you run your own business or you run a business or you've been a manager for a business, you just don't understand the involvement behind the scene of from doing. There's a lot of prep and
100%.
post work after.
Yes.
Like it's just like it just adds up. Like there are a large amount of little things that need to be done. So like for example, a phone call. Now a phone call sounds really mundane, something really simple, straightforward, but it's not, because this is where you create rapport with your client, you clarify questions, you clarify anything, and this takes like a good hour.
Sure.
Out of your day, an hour, just one client.
I was about to say, just one call,
one client, 1 hour. And then you need time to sort of process and then write it down, do all this stuff, and then and that's probably another extra half an hour. Then you need sort of time to sort of clear your mind for the next client or the next task. You know what I mean?
100%. And it's giving people an understanding of all that work. And once again, I'll say that I like explaining that to people just to give more context. But I think all the little bits and pieces that we do on the back end that people don't see, once again, it can be really cliche of people see us at a venue, we do our job, and you just go home and that's it. It's all magically done.
No,
but there's been a process to get to that point, and I'm sure.
And you need my therapy yourself after
I need start massaging myself when I'm in the van and just
man, I remember doing a couple of. Mainly was a club DJ, and then I did a couple of weddings it was extra cash, and and when I did these gigs, I was like, wow, I feel like I'm only DJing properly. You're there present, doing a lot of DJing and playing music. I mean, there's a lot going on in the background, but proper DJing, mixing, trying to get the crowd going, it's like 2 hours. Like of the whole wedding, like proper, and then I just like, this is a personal experience, by the way. And then I was like, and then I got to pack up again. Nobody's helping me. I'm like, oh, dude, this is like killer. And I had that massive case, the Pioneer case with the 700 mixer with the 850s.
Yeah, I remember you said packed.
Dude, that was heavy. That was heavy. Like that's 2 bodies worth of weight there. And I just found it so difficult, man. And I was like, nah, this is not for me.
Sure. I think that's a common question. Like, man, don't you ever get sick of setting up and packing down? Now, I'm not going to sit here going, I love it, it's the best thing ever. But I think for me personally, there's such a process or reward for everything else. It's at the back of my head. I'm like, this is nothing. And there's
because you rock up quite early.
Weddings, I have a sort of rule that 2.5 to 3 hours beforehand.
Wow.
And the common question is from either the venue or the client, why so early?
Yeah.
Do you need that much time to set up? I go, no. I go, maybe it takes me an hour.
Yeah.
I go, but traffic.
Yeah.
Venue logistics, if other people are
That's
bumping
right.
in. Weather. Faults in the elevator.
Yeah.
And once again, people don't see this. So you're leaving home or your family earlier.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
For a 5 p.m. start, you're getting there at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're finishing at midnight, probably getting into the car or van by 1:30.
Yeah.
I normally stop off for a bit of food or grab a drink, just chill out, get home, sit in the van for a bit to unwind, shower, get to bed. That's like 3, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I left, 1 o'clock.
Yeah. It's a good 12 hours, mate.
But people just see the 5 hours at the reception.
That's right.
But it's not something to say like, oh, poor me, have it sympathy.
No.
It's, I think, I'll say it again, it's understanding the bigger picture.
That's right.
For everyone in the industry. In the industry.
Yeah.
That even comes down to venues, man.
I mean, you have a good understanding, a rough understanding of when it comes to video and photos because you do epic shots, right?
Correct.
So is that still going?
Yeah.
Epic shots? All right.
Absolutely. So, love it.
Yeah, you definitely have a creative mind, man. You just don't stop. You take an interest and you start exploring it, which is really cool, man, to see. And I'll tell you, the first time I saw your car commercial that you sort of did, because it had the tracking, I was like, dude, that looks awesome. Like, how does this guy have time? I don't even have time.
Is that with the van?
Yeah. I think it was the van. I don't know where you were, but you just
on the dirt road. So funny story to that. Just to give it even a bit more context. I was on the way home. I had a couple of appointments and I had to sort of make it home for dinner. And bought the drone recently prior to that video. Yeah. And as you know, I love my electronics and photo and video. So I'm a big kid at this stuff and I'll explore everything.
Tech
which
lover.
is the whole point. But I was supposed to be home speaking to D saying, I'll be home in like 20 minutes. And I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours later, because my phone was obviously being used for the
that's
drone.
right,
I was sitting there editing, I was doing B-roll shots and everything on myself. And I had everything on Do Not Disturb. Yeah. And then I finally got in the van. I was like, man, I got a video. And other people freaking out, like, man, I'm supposed to be home 20 minutes ago. Where are you? Like, I just made like a van commercial. Like, I just went off on a tangent. But that's me. And I was by myself and I don't need anyone else. And down the side road. Like,
that's so cool.
I like that. I'm not scared to do things like you too, man. You like taking opportunities of anything, whether it's something small and personal or working with others, but you got to have fun with it, enjoy what you do, and it's a little bit of a breakaway to the weekend work as well.
So, okay, just a quick one. How many gigs do you have booked this year, like 2012? Because we're in February, so
sure. As in myself or the company?
Well, the company, yeah.
I normally do a count every few months just to see where things are at the moment. I don't have an exact number, but the trend has been the calendar year. The company does anywhere between 240 to 260 events a year.
Jeez.
With about 60 to 70% of that being weddings. And additional services. And then the others being private functions, whether it is a birthday, corporate gig, engagement. I do
additional services you're talking about, like, because you've slowly just started introducing like sparklers and what's it?
The fog. We do the dancing on the cloud. We do sparks. Photo booths, audio guest books, upgraded AV, ceremony and canapé packages. We can book live artists. We have a select few. And obviously we book what we can handle. So a lot of these items we do have. Which is it makes it fun for us because we own the items. So once again, love all the tech stuff. This is all technical electronics that I like to have a bit of fun with it. So keeps it interesting for me, gives value to the client. And it's a progression for the business. So
it's just easy, isn't it? I mean, I find it.
Clients say it. They go, do you offer this? And I said, yeah, we do. Or even
Yeah.
after the fact, they don't realize. Hey, do you know anyone that does A, B, or C?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Oh, can I just book that through you? And it's always the same answer.
Yeah.
We'd rather deal with one person.
That's right.
So, which gives you a perspective into how a client thinks for convenience, or
Yeah.
if they've already trusted you through the initial booking stage.
Yeah.
Anything that you can offer them on top,
Yeah.
even if it was a little bit more expensive than the competitor, they're happy to go with you because of ease of service and one person and don't have to think about it. So, yeah.
I was talking to someone else about wedding planners,
Yes.
actually, and that how, like, Australia is not a country where we use wedding planners. It's there's not many of them. It's not a wedding planner culture here, right? And
What would you say is a wedding planner culture? Europe
well,
or anywhere else but Australia?
actually, Europe is even worse. Like, they would barely get a photographer. The times that I've traveled to Italy, and I've got a few photographers and videographer friends, they really struggle with locals. It's all, the money is with the Americans. It's with people coming from overseas to have destination weddings.
Sure.
Those are the ones that actually have bigger budgets and are willing to pay and whatnot. But the people from Europe are very laid back, very simple, even more simple than just a backyard wedding.
Sure.
They'll just literally just do the ceremony, the church, and then after that it's just party. So they're not like...
Formalities.
Yeah. It's just like they're not really about, oh, I want a cinematic video or I want editorial photo shoot. They just want moments captured nicely and that's it. A nice, beautiful job.
So why is it that you think here, and I've worked with you on many jobs where we've seen couples, either they know what they want or they've been told by other people what they should get. And I think that's
I think basically social media.
Social media, yeah?
Yeah, they just go, and I feel like Australia goes by the American standard.
Yep.
So I feel like
Trends and
America, they set a standard, a trend, and then Australia it just like the American culture just seeps through Australia.
Yeah, I agree to that. Yeah, for sure.
Like everything, like the big chandeliers and all that. We never saw that. I never saw that here. No. And then suddenly it started becoming big in Sydney and then Melbourne. And then it's just like...
And you see it, I mean, obviously you see it in your work because you're capturing it versus me. We see it when we get there. So as part of the setup.
Yeah.
But you see the planning process and you think, man, this looks like the Logies or something.
Yeah.
And that's all well if you've got the budget and you like that stuff. But I agree, like that never used to happen. So where does it stem from?
Yeah.
And I do believe it's the culture that we live in of we need to do something better than the last.
Yeah.
That's human nature, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what industry we're in.
It's just evolution. I do find it like sometimes it goes back a little bit. It's like it
gets blown up then.
Well, it's just a different trend, I reckon, because you know what's a new trend, I find it? Small bridal parties.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just doing a best man maid of honor or just a couple of people on each side or like keeping it really tight and small.
Do you believe, just on that note, do you believe that... actually, sorry, let me rephrase that. I think that COVID changed that as well. Coming out of COVID, people will then just consider the weddings not to be 300-400 people because the parents wanted it and we have to have 3 cakes and 48 fireworks and 3 bands. There's almost an expectation that they had to have it from factors, socials, parents, family.
Going to other weddings.
They
think that's the standard. Because if you think about it,
correct.
I mean, everyone's doing their wedding for the first time and the only time.
That's right. They don't know any better.
So they don't know any better. Yeah, they don't know what's out there, what's new, what's the standard.
But I think COVID and other factors had brought people to just go, we want to start a family or we want to build a house or go on a holiday.
Yeah, the priorities changed.
Pull the wedding back. And I think that's a good thing for maybe us as suppliers because we're visiting restaurants and places in the Yarra Valley and other places where you're like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
60 people, as you just said, 2 people in the bridal party. And it's a relaxed atmosphere.
Very relaxed,
And from me as a DJ, people had more fun. People danced more. There was less formalities. But don't get me wrong, I'm still a sucker for tradition
Yeah.
and a reception and all your formalities.
Yeah, yeah.
It depends on the clients.
Yeah.
If they like it and they're into all that part, go
Yeah.
nuts. But we've got a variety of things now. I think that's the biggest thing.
So that's a lot of gigs that you've got. 200 and that's crazy, and you even know the numbers.
Sure.
That's even
Have to
and the
know,
stats. Like
sure.
that was
Yes.
crazy, man.
Yeah.
So what are your projections for 2025 for next year? So what are you wanting to grow? Is there something you want to change about your business? Because I've definitely learned personally.
Yes.
After the experiences that I've done from going to Europe and traveling to Mexico and a couple of times this and that, I've reanalyzed and redoing the whole business again. Does that make sense?
100%. It's a cycle.
Yeah, like I feel like, all right, I've done destination weddings and I'm like, all right, yeah, it's cool, it's beautiful. You're shooting in Italy or Paris and south of France or whatever. But all that traveling just killed me, man. And for what? You know what I mean? Like it looks glamorous, but it's not. Like
Took the fun out of it a little?
Yeah, a little. I was like, it was quite stressful. Even though I was not excessively booked for weddings here in Australia, I had to. It was the timing. The timing was like I would go to Italy for 2 weeks. There was 2 weeks that I couldn't talk to clients. I couldn't edit. I couldn't do any work, and just pay attention to what I was doing in Italy. Then come back, come out of the jet lag, recover, and then there was like another week or so that I just didn't feel like I couldn't edit anymore. And so, do you know what I mean? So I lost, like, I feel like I was backtracked a couple of times during the year. I found that personally for myself.
Just taxing.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And, but also I learned a lot of big lessons. I learned a lot about film. I learned about the American market. There's so much out there that's not spoken about.
Good or bad? Both.
A bit of everything. Yeah, it's a bit of everything. Like how big the market is in America, how much people actually get paid over there.
Sure.
It is different. GDP, all that stuff is relevant. You know, Australia's market and income is different to America. The psychology, the culture is just different as well. They're very out there.
And bigger and better.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Australians are a little like they like to have those things or refine things, but
to a limit.
Yeah, to a limit. Australian culture is still laid back.
Sure.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I learned a lot of things, but going back to you, like what things have you felt that you wanted to project for 2025?
I have, it's a two-part, and it's in relation to what you just said.
Yeah.
So the business will continue to grow. We'll add a few more services in. We're always trying to look for something to add in. That's a bit of a trend. You've got to do that part of business to stay relevant, of course. Increase a little bit of the amount of DJs that we have and whatnot. In this field, we have to continuously get new people because obviously times are changing and everyone's got a bit of a different flavor. So from a business point of view, still continue to grow, get people on board, add more services, etc. The bookings and stuff sort of is automated. We can already project what we're going to be doing. Yeah. But the other side of it, which I think is more important, is myself personally within the business, which is I plan to pull back my amount of work that I am doing. Yeah. Because 2024 is already obviously here and we've already got our gigs sort of lined up. Yeah. So 2025 for me to do less, to manage the company more. Yeah. And just almost become like an agency. It's almost like that now because we have subbies, but just almost, I'm doing these, I'm happy with that. Yeah. Got a few more people on board and essentially expand the business by having an admin team or marketing and relinquishing tasks that I can no longer do. Yeah. Which has been a bit of a topic of discussion with a few of the crew. Yeah. But that's due to the cycle, like you just said. I've gone through starting it, it's a hobby, to doing it with part-time stuff, then full-time, then hitting absolute peak where I was doing 4 or 5 gigs a week, back to back with 100 things in between, which is fine. I'm a bit of an energizer bunny, but you have to burn yourself out to then understand the other side of things. Yeah. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I haven't hit those peaks where I hate the job and all
Yeah.
that stuff, but
Yeah.
I've seen it, and it now allows me to set up a bit of a pipeline of what's ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah, in short, manage my time, myself
Yeah.
personally,
Yeah.
grow the business from a professional standard of keeping things structured and adding to it,
Yeah.
and relinquishing tasks where I can gain more time. And
It takes a while to do that. Like I find
it does, man.
you have to find someone that does it like you want it to be done, and then when you start to be in that side of the business when you're growing that much, where you're already thinking like you now need to hire people to
Yes.
actually do these like admins and so on. That's when you start thinking, oh, that's what. Well, I do. How bosses and managers hire people for 9-to-5 jobs.
100%.
Because it's essentially the
Yes,
same
yes.
thing. So you're in that role. So
Yes.
you're a company now,
Yes,
and
yes.
you're going to hire, and now you're thinking, I don't know where to start. I learned one of the things when I did my business degree is that one of the most important things, especially these days for organizations, is the value of the person. So the morals and the values of the person are much more outweigh the capacity of or the experience of that person, because you can teach someone to do a task and train them and invest time and do that type of thing, as long as their values and morals are in alignment with the culture of the vision of the organization. Whereas you can have a more than capable person, and with a lot of experience for the job, but then they just bring bad energy, or
No personality.
no personality.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to do it. They
Yeah.
do it. So, and then you just like, oh, I don't even want to be around that person. Like, it's bad for. It's like that bad fruit concept that you put a rotten
yes,
apple, and it'll just
rot the rest.
rot the rest. Yeah. So
No, I fully agree with that, and I think maybe due to experience and maturity,
yeah,
I've learned to sort of and that comes down to the people that do work for us, right?
yeah,
You want people that aren't just a worker and that's it, and I pay you and you make me money, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's your friend, you're a colleague, let's hang out, let's discuss music, let's discuss life stuff.
yeah,
And you have that times 10, 20, whatever it may
Yeah.
be. And you have now a culture, you got a group, you got
Yeah.
a collective.
yeah,
And I always say that at Ei8ht Entertainment, we are a collective group of DJs and MCs and stuff like that. Versus, I just got workers and whatnot. So
having said that, let's before we go for a break, so for 2025, that's what you wanted to do.
yeah.
What is your plans for 2030, which is like after next year, it's another 5-year projection. So have you forecasted, have you thought about where you're sort of heading with Ei8ht Entertainment?
I've never jumped that far ahead in all my time, I must admit. Everything's anywhere between 1 to 3 years
Yeah.
based on the work. Because currently, over the last few years, work has always been projected or booked up until about 2 to 2.5 years ahead of time.
Yeah.
So there's that window, which is great. I'm super wrapped about that there's work within a 2-year frame at any given time.
Yeah.
So I haven't had to sort of look past that because I don't know how the business was going to evolve.
Yeah.
I don't know what services were going to be added in and what way. But now that there's a bit more experience within the company, I foresee it to be an automated company, agency, group, and I'd like to build a few extra arms to it as a bit of a vision. And what I mean by that is it'd be cool to have like the 8 group, and have like 8 hire, AV hire, for example. 8 agency where we book just artists.
Yeah.
It could be 8 design and all these other aspects within the industry of weddings and private functions.
Yeah.
That is an idea. But essentially pull back myself more and more, I guess, if we're projecting it for years ahead, where I just manage. I'd like to still DJ. I don't think I'll ever stop. And I've had that chat with a few of the other guys where like, you'll never stop. but I'm not going to be out every weekend. It might be a couple times a month.
Yeah.
And I've built a big, strong enough team where every role is, I think, filled. And
Yeah.
even just saying that now, probably even thought of that myself. So there is a manager now. There is a couple staff that do what I do.
Yeah.
There is marketing, advertising. We've got a photo and video guy that does stuff once a month for media, and I'm just managing it. And it could also allow me to venture off into other hobbies.
Yeah.
The company allowed me to do that.
Yeah.
But what that actually is, I don't know. So
I think it's really important to notice that something that you're already doing, and it probably comes really natural to you, but not to other people.
sure.
So see, everyone is trying to hustle or make something big so they can essentially just retire. Like that's what I feel like everyone's sort of dream is, like to work less and earn the same amount of money, right?
Sure.
And I think it's a misconception in a way that you need to really like sacrifice a lot for a long time.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like
no, yep.
it's like it's not sustainable. Like
No,
I feel like it's
no,
not sustainable.
no.
Like you're just gonna burn and die of a heart attack or something. So I like what you're doing is really cool because you're already acknowledging I'm growing, and like you're happy with, no matter if you spend a little bit more money and that brings down your profits.
Yes.
But your sanity and your happiness and your quality of life is probably richer than before because.
Yes.
Does that make sense? So
No,
now, yeah.
fully in line with that. And,
Yeah.
And these are the chats I've had with people who are older than me,
Yeah.
older or younger, but been in business or for themselves longer.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone's had a bit of a peak that they've experienced. And
Yeah.
almost like I was saying before, you start, you hustle, you take everything on.
Yeah.
You end up booking yourself out tenfold.
Yeah.
You hire people and all this stuff, and then you're redlining. And
Yeah.
trust me, and people around me know I can handle redline
Yeah.
for a longer period of time than what maybe others
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
And don't ask me how I get through it.
Yeah.
But that's just how I am.
Yeah.
And I had to acknowledge that that's not healthy either.
Yeah.
But I am still thankful that I could do that, to know, hey man, this is great. We're earning millions in theory.
Yeah.
And it's great and jobs everywhere, but it's not sustainable. It's definitely not. But hey, this is good. Let's experience this for a bit. And guess what, man? Foot off the accelerator, but not off the business.
Yeah.
So this is where I have to step back.
Yeah.
And talking to people and giving advice.
But that's when it's when you step back is when you can see the clearer picture.
How you're supposed to know. That's right.
And
100%.
and be able to actually take the next step to grow the company. So that's how you sort of. People think it's like keep on hustling, but it's actually when you step back,
Yes.
and analyze and okay, this needs to stop. We can take this out, do something different here, give out tasks. This is where I'm going to be able to actually focus and give more energy into another different aspect of the business and make it grow.
100%. And I just had a chat with a good friend of mine literally about this, and this would probably apply to any person's business to a degree, but give the example of you relinquish all your admin and bookings and inquiries, which I handle all myself. And I'm happy to do it because, you feel the business is growing when you see the bookings come through.
Yeah.
You answer it, they book through, they're happy with your service.
Yeah.
And, you ring that bell and another one to the list. And I think you should never forget that. Like each job that you book in is due to your work and everything that you've built up to that point.
Yeah.
But if we had the hypothetical of, and I say hypothetical because it's not happening at the moment, that, okay, Avi, you're now my admin booking person. D, you're my so-and-so. You're looking after this and that.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I do? Because that takes up a lot of time on my time. In fact, man, I was up till 3:45 last night.
Wow.
Because I was distracted throughout the night, watching a bit of TV, chilling out. I'm a night owl and I work well when everyone's asleep.
That's right. Same here.
Yeah, I scheduled about 40 emails to be sent.
Yeah.
So probably after this, my phone's going to be nuts. But point being is, I had to sacrifice that time and sleep a bit, just to focus, get it all done, and then that creates breathing room for the rest of the week, for example.
Man. I reckon we'll take a quick break, and have a coffee, and we'll go to the bathroom, and then we'll continue our next part 2 of episode 2.
Sounds good.
All right, cool, man. Nice.
Do you want me to stop recording or leave?
Welcome back to a second break. Let's go, man.
Thank you, Mr.
More chilled.
Nah, nice and easy.
It's been nice and chilled anyway.
It has, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for running it through with me, man. We often don't get to ask these questions.
Yeah.
To each other.
Yeah, like what we were saying behind the scenes, we were just saying really awesome stuff for the podcast, which is how a lot of people will be interested in the things that we in what we have to say, and in the things that we have to say in our perspective, and also just information about the wedding industry and so on. So
just the involvement, I think, of what's required from every type of supplier. It's not just about DJing or photo. It's from everyone. You know, people doing the decor, or decor rather.
Yeah.
And other stuff, like, you know, these guys are there for hours from early in the morning, man, setting up the room. There'll be stuff that we won't even notice at all.
Yeah.
But even with that said, man, how about you, man? I've seen your journey flourish from many years ago, and you've transitioned from industry to industry.
Yeah.
I guess for those who don't know maybe your full story, what actually led you to changing your initial work industry that you were into essentially photography? What was the, it
was pretty similar to yours, man. So photography was a hobby.
Yep.
Obviously, DJing was the hobby. I was doing the club scenes. That didn't really help with my profession as a medical scientist.
Sure.
Like working early mornings and then having on a Friday, come home, have a nap, because I'm going to start at 10 o'clock and finish at 3.
Sure.
And then you don't finish at 3, you go until 4 or 5 because, you're winding down with your mates.
Yep.
So as that sort of kept a backseat, already I took I bought my first pro camera because I was going overseas, and I didn't want. Back in the day, we didn't have iPhones. I think iPhone just came out, and they were very expensive. 3G was it?
Yeah.
So the whole thing is that it just became a hobby, and I just passionately just started shooting anything and everything, man. And then slowly got into started getting gigs, club gigs, anything, and just said yes to.
Just to dip your feet in, right?
Said yes to anything.
Yeah.
I remember the first engagement. They're like, "Oh, you want to do an engagement?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then I was like, "I don't even know. I don't even have a flash. I don't even know how to use flash. What is?" And then I had to put myself always in positions that I had to learn.
Sure.
Because I just took the job, and I'm like, now I've got to learn, and I have to have a better lens, or I have to do something else, or I have to have external lights or something like that. And then it just kept on going and growing and growing into weddings. And to be honest, this is the thing for this year.
Sure.
Many people wouldn't know about photography is that I love fashion a lot. And the first things that I started doing as a photographer, when I felt a little bit more comfortable and confident, was to practice and take portraits of people. So I was like, put on something like very fashionable, and let's go to Hosier Lane
and just snap away.
Yeah, snap away, do some fashion type street photography.
But you put yourself in that position to allow you to learn.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that you learn from doing that type of work, and I started doing that, and then but weddings took over, and as much as I love weddings, fashion has just a different aspect of creativity. See, weddings is like that's the gown.
Work.
Yeah, like it's predictable in a way, like a little
Sure.
Yeah.
I
Whereas
think people are
fashion,
scared to say that, but it's true. It's
Yeah,
a
it
process.
is.
You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I know what's going to
Fashion,
happen.
it's very creative.
You know
very
when
different.
when people are going to react. You know when people are going to cry. You
Sure,
know this
sure.
and that. It gets a little bit like that. But fashion is a different type of creativity. Even though weddings tie into fashion a little bit,
Yeah.
fashion I feel and glamour photography, it's just different. Like it's just like intentional editorial. You can do different things. You can put diamonds on a girl's face, and it's like you probably seen
Of course, yeah. No,
a lot
of
of
course.
different creative stuff that other photographers are doing
Yeah,
in America and everywhere around the world.
So having that, I guess, variety of creative exploration, let's just say,
that's right.
in
Yeah,
fashion,
yeah,
is what draws you to that, and then tie that in with photography, right?
yeah, yeah,
And obviously you dabbled even in video as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just photo.
Yeah.
And I think I had this chat with you last time, or a few other people like, oh man, that was a ripper video, and you're like, I shot that. Because
yeah,
obviously I know your team as well.
Yeah, yeah,
But you're like,
yeah.
no, that was me.
Yeah.
And then you're up on the drone, you're taking some B-roll footage and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So maybe people don't know that about you, that, I think it's a misconception that maybe sometimes as well, photo is just photo, video is just video, or the other way around. You're a photographer, so you should know how to shoot video.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
But it's good that you can express your stuff in different ways as well.
Yeah, no, it's that's another aspect that I want to do this year.
Get into video.
Sorry.
Get into video.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like I'm confident in doing video. At least, I mean, there's way more that you can get into commercial stuff where
Sure.
they have red dragons, I think they're called, 8K, 12K cameras that are like $60,000 cameras with a $60,000 lens, right? Anamorphic and all these different stuff. So that's a whole different ball game. But as for using a DSLR or mirrorless, yeah, like I do like creating certain things. I've done some for venues and clubs.
Yep.
At the moment, real estate I wouldn't get into.
Sure.
That's just so monotonous, man. Like it's just like it's a beautiful house. Don't get me wrong, but like yeah,
Work.
I wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah. So it has to be good. I found that people have to be involved.
Okay. Yeah.
It has to be people.
Interaction.
Yeah, I can't be doing cars.
Yeah. Shooting just
I can do a photo shoot for one person for a car, but make it my career, no, it's not going to happen.
Sure.
Like it has to be, people have to be involved at any level. Yeah. So, yeah. So pretty much, that's the go with video. Yeah, man.
With just touching base quickly on obviously from photo and leaving the medical side of things.
Yeah.
I guess what's been the biggest catalyst for you to sort of stay in your field and enjoy it and progression? Like, because as you just mentioned, it could just be a job, right? It can be a job. It's a bit different to what you're doing previously.
Yeah.
Make some cash, a bit different to what you had, a bit more flexibility. But there has to be something, as we we're saying, like it's a passion, right?
Yeah.
Or it's a hobby and develops more and more. But is there a certain aspect to your job now that you absolutely love? Like you just mentioned it, like it's the interaction with people,
Yeah, simplification of the business. So at first, like you said, I had a team of photographers. I was going to grow in that like other studios. They start subcontracting and sending out people. Have a team. I found that it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard because especially with what I do, I feel like there's a certain expectation, and let's say that if that person doesn't have, they might be competent photographers, right? But if they don't know how to manage people and say no, I need to get this shot. Give me a second.
Yes.
And
like
be or authoritarian in a way. As a photographer, you have to sort of boss, or at least my style, I have to direct, right?
100%.
And so, and it's for the benefit of the client anyways, but you have to direct. And so I found that if they didn't direct, they'll miss opportunities and then it will get back to me. And it's the same with any other part of the business, like with video. They didn't like this, they didn't, because I don't edit. I send it to an editor. I can't be doing everything, right?
Of course,
like,
of course. Yeah.
we're already sending out things to be done by someone,
Yeah,
a task
correct.
by someone else. So I still shoot and edit my own work, but when it comes to video, it's obviously done by somebody else.
Sure.
And that's when things start to come by, and it's just caused me so many headaches. And I'm like,
Not worth it.
I don't want to do this anymore.
And I'm sure even as to what you're saying, like being out on your own versus having a team, because it's such a creative job role essentially.
Yeah.
You know, people wanting you, and I've obviously
Yeah.
copped that as well, and the rest of the crew. You know, we want you.
That's
and
right.
It was very hard for myself personally.
Yeah, imagine that.
To try convert clients to understanding it's not just me.
Yeah.
There's a team, and sure, they're not cookie cutter copies of me, but they're very close because I wouldn't have them working for me, and try to get them to understand. And once again, pulling myself away from the brand personally and creating a door. I always tell people, creating a door to knock on the door and be like, "Hi, is Chris available?" Versus, "Hey, you free?" Nah. And they're walking off already, telling, "Hey, I got Avi available. He's great. He does what all the great stuff." I think that's a hard part in any company or business, especially when it's a personal service. People want you. They see your work and all the rest of it. But
and I think that comes in with like the name of the brand is Andrew Avi.
Yes. You've marketed.
I've marketed myself.
Yes.
Not as someone else. And so it was only during the COVID times that I was sending out people, right?
Sure.
And the best I can do was like, listen, I can't do it, but I can send someone. I'll do the finishing editing. I'll do the job. Like I'll finalize
You're
everything.
overseeing the booking and the job.
But I can't shoot it, and they'll be happy with that, but it still wouldn't be to the standard. Of course, because it's not me.
Yeah, of course.
Which is...
pro and a con, because it depends on how you want to build your business. If you want a whole team in a studio in a collective, but if not, man, as we know, as an artist that you are, you can definitely make it just on your own with one person as your right-hand man or girl to grow yourself. Which then leads me to a question that I like asking. How does it feel to just work for yourself? To be self-employed, to run your own stuff, because your work is you, as you just literally just said. You know, it's your creative input. You're not just taking materials and building a fence for someone that anyone can do. How does it make you feel that you are working for yourself, coming from your previous work life?
To be honest, like I feel it's so rewarding. It comes with its caveats, but that sort of pushes the boundaries as a person to come out to learn new skills, to how to deal with issues, how to address people, how to look after the client. But having said that, to just wake up, and you can wake up at whatever time you want, you can go to bed at any time you want, because there's but at the same time, we're very hard on ourselves. We're our harshest bosses, because we're like, I need to get these done, and you start sacrificing certain things, right? And that's when you sort of have to find the balance in your life, work in balance. But it's highly rewarding. I find that I don't even know. I should have started earlier. That's the only thing that I would have said. I would say that at some point when I was a DJ, I was actually going to go full time, but for some reason, I didn't. I don't know why. I just felt like the narrative of having to have a 9-to-5 or a career
was the right thing to do.
That's the only way to become secure and successful. Like
it is that
and really,
matrix
it's not
bubble.
It is not, because that is exactly why I got into photography, because my job wasn't secured. At some point, things were going to change, and they did this national health reset, like within women's health, right? And that was going to change the amount of scientists they're going to need. Because machines were going to do the majority of the heavy work. So I was like, well, I'm going to be out of a job soon. And so my natural instinct was study something else. So I did business,
Yeah.
which I didn't think I was going to be good at. But apparently I have an innate it's in my nature,
Sure.
yeah, just to understand business, finances and marketing and so on. So it was when I was doing that, I remember quite clearly. I was at Miss Collins, yeah, of all places, and I spoke to I did his wedding in January, right? His name's Nick, and I go, Nick, I want to ask you a question. He goes, yeah, man. I go, I'm thinking about going full-time photography, like, and run my own business. I go, what do you think? He's like, dude, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
He goes, you will never regret it. You're being your own boss. There's no limit to what you can do. There's no limit how much you can earn. There's no limit to how you can grow. There's no limits. I go, it's your oyster. Just do it. I started he's a surveyor. And he goes, since I've done it, like,
Best thing ever.
Best thing ever.
Yeah. I think you have that one chat or that one push or life situation, and we've all been there, those who are self-employed, and understand that, as soon as you see that little peak in the wall, and some people are excited, almost naive, going, no, I'll be fine. And everyone else, no, don't do that, you're silly. You have that whole situation.
Oh, my dad was like that.
Right.
He was like, what are you going to do for money?
But
how are you going to live?
That's the old school,
that's the old school
mentality, which, you know what, we can't disagree to that, because obviously our parents grew up in a different time where
that's right.
You work, you take whatever you can.
But back in the 80s,
yes,
it was a different time.
Yeah, you couldn't do a hobby that you wanted.
No, but you know what? Yeah. That was the time where university they needed people in professions.
Right.
So that was like, they needed accountants. They needed to, because the technology started growing. So they needed, university was the only place where you can get that skill. You couldn't learn it anywhere else.
Up to a factory. And
that's right. So what happens is that back in the 80s, yes, it was relevant. It was like the only way to become successful, make money easy and quick. But then it plateaued. Now we're going back to creativity, and that you're born with it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
You either have or you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it's cool, because you still got both left and right sides of exactly that, the old school thinking, and the new age.
Yeah.
I can do whatever, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it creates diversity in a good way, man.
Yeah.
But what do you think in saying that? So obviously, becoming your own boss, doing the things that you love, creating a hobby that turns into a business, which I can obviously understand. What's led to your biggest successes to date? Like, what's been, I guess, your milestones, which I think I already may know the answer, but what has led to that point in time? Is it a combination of just you taking everything on board still, like you did when you first started? Is it just the opportunities that you've met that might be a bit fearful, and then just once again taking that on?
Yeah.
For you personally, what has been that moment where you, I guess, reflect and say, far out?
Well, I feel like we're very similar in that sense.
Sure.
So we set sort of goals, but that are achievable.
Yep.
And maybe a couple of like crazy ones, right? Like you already, like you got your 1 to 2 to 3 year goals, and then you've got your 5, and you're just like throwing out like agency ideas, right?
Yeah, sure.
So something like that happened with me as well. So I didn't have any expectations. I didn't know how it was going to work. But I actually, every year, what I do is I write down like a list of goals, right? Like hit the 250,000 mark, and be in vogue and whatever, right?
Sure.
Stupid. I never thought that was going to ever happen, ever.
And it did. We all know, of course.
And it did. And so, and now I'm like, okay, well, what's next, man?
You didn't force it, right? I mean, I feel like when people write these lists, once again, I've experienced as well.
Yeah.
You don't force it. It's, as you said, it's just an idea. Like, it would be crazy if this and this happened.
Yeah.
Write it, and sure, if you can believe the whole, put it into the universe, whatever.
Well, it comes down to hard. Like, I mean, you obviously have to have
A vision.
some sort of action towards it. Like,
Of course,
you
yes,
you
yes.
can wish for $1 million in the bank account or whatever, but I mean, without you getting out of bed, it's not going to happen. So you
course.
sort of have to do actions and work towards it, but you shouldn't be stressing and that much about it. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those goals that it keeps you up, and it's such an like a high astronomical dream that, but it just sort of makes you say,
Well, I can
get it, but I just have to really like you work, and before you know it, you don't even know when it happens, and it just boom, and then suddenly it just happens.
You're
and
there.
You're like, oh wow,
You're there.
this happened sooner than what I thought. I thought it was going to happen in 5 years, but it happened in 2. So, yeah.
How does that make you feel though? Like, once again, does it sort of shock you a little bit, maybe due to the time frame that it's happened in? Or did you say, no, you know what, man, I busted my ass. I feel like there's a bit of a balance, right? You did put in the work, but you aren't fully shocked that you maybe got there due to the opportunities that presented to you?
To be honest, I was very shocked. I was shocked. But at the same time, growing fast, I'm not too surprised about it, because I think over time, as you get older, you start to accrue these skills anyways, like how to deal with people and all this, like how to really push yourself, right?
Sure.
And so you
learn and adapt.
you're exponentially quicker. Yes. So for example, I can put you in a different country.
Yep.
Give you $1,000 and go, all right, start living, start making your own business or whatever. Yeah. You'll make it happen within. It took you 5, 6, 7 years in Australia because you're 18, because you didn't have the skills. You're learning all these skills. Yes. You're going to do it within a year. Because you're going to create another entertainment in Greece. You're going to make an Ei8ht Entertainment in Greece, because you already have the skills, you already have the knowledge and the maturity of it. So it will be quicker for you to get there. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Implementation. Yeah. Implementation should be quicker, because you're currently doing it or you've done it, versus trying to learn on the job as such over time. Yeah. And know what works and doesn't work.
Yeah. So I think that's why with the photography side, like with business, because I've been doing photography, like doing DJing, or just in the industry of the medical science, I've learned a lot of skills that help me get there quicker. Yeah. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess a key question, just like you asked me, is where does this lead you to? I wouldn't even put a year on it, 5 or 10. Yeah. But what's the Andrew Avi?
I have some big dreams, man.
Sure. Are they secret? Can you share?
I'm happy to share it, man. Like, sometimes I'm a bit skeptical about sharing, not because I don't want people to copy, because it's not a new concept, but it's like the malloquial, like people just like jinx it.
No, bro.
But happy to share, man.
In a general scheme of things, where do you?
Okay, so the first personally, I want to open a studio.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I want to have a studio. I'm looking into ways of doing it. I've seen other people do it.
Yep.
I haven't actually asked them. Like, I've seen new photographers that are opening studios. I'm like, how did they open their studio? And I'm looking at at hiring rooms and this and that, and I'm like, I don't know how they're doing it. Like, where are they finding these places? Like, so I just got to trust the process that at the right time
you'll do it.
It's going to come, and I just need to be ready for it. I've already purchased studio lights. I'm not sure if I've told you, I've showed you. I'll show you later on. I got pro photo lights, which is like really high quality. Yeah. So I'm already projecting, I'm already visualizing and moving towards that. So it's like buying a car. Like, you first buy the little dice that you got to put, and then you get the car.
You buy all
suddenly.
the accessories and
you buy the ambipur.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Get your floor mats in.
The pine tree that's gonna hang there.
Get your Maguire's bloody polish.
Before you get the car, you already got the tire shine going on.
But in real life,
Yeah.
that's a like a prepping, a planning,
Yeah, that's right.
a nurturing sort of side
Yeah.
of it. Is this to shoot particular styles, or is it more just to have a workplace now? Is that like something that you want to?
Yeah, like I wasn't happy. Look, I've been searching for a very long time where to work, a space where I can go and just like delve into it. I feel like being at home
No
is
separation.
cool. Huh?
No separation.
No separation.
Yeah.
Like I'll just get sucked into I gotta do my laundry. I gotta do this, and then I'll just get distracted, and then suddenly I've just
Lost time.
yeah, I've just really split my time that I could have been doing something else
Sure.
and focused solely on that. But
And people
the studio,
do say that a lot.
Yeah.
Having a workplace.
they want a workplace. I know a lot of photographers that want the same. They actually said to me, they go, if you find a studio, I'll be happy to get a desk because sometimes I just want to be out of
Get
home.
away, yeah.
I want to
That's
be
good,
in
man.
an environment where I'm also talking to other photographers, and you can just
Bounce things
This
off
is the
you.
whole.
Yes.
This is the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But look, the studio is the big thing, and an even bigger project than that is like having an agency.
Sure.
But it's a community-based agency where it permits the youth and anyone that wants to, especially targeted for youth, or anyone that wants to sort of delve into creativity and photography, but not only photography, but graphic designing, video skills, learning all these things because
Creative arts.
yeah, because even DJing, because a lot of people don't have access to the equipment.
Yep.
They don't have access to the that's the main one.
That's the biggest one because a lot of our equipment, literally,
It's expensive,
No one
man.
gets a chance to be like, hey, take my $5,000 camera and just
Yeah,
play,
yeah, just play with it.
play with it. Yeah. So that's until you bring that point up,
Yeah.
it's very true because if people don't have the access or even have many people that
Yeah.
have it to even allow them,
Yeah.
how they ever supposed to know?
So I feel like a lot of people will be taking interest into things if they had the chance to actually have access to these instruments,
Sure.
these tools, right? And so yeah, schools have these things, but they don't dive into it a lot. Yeah, so pretty much I wanted to create a space where people can learn and also give people opportunities. Not every photographer has access. Like if a photographer has an idea, for example, renting a studio is like $500 for like 3-4 hours.
Sure.
Dude, that's a lot of money.
Of course.
Yeah, even for me, it's like I feel like it's a waste of money, man.
You
Like,
can't just jump in. You have to actually think about it.
yeah, you have to think about it and make it worth your while.
For sure.
For half a day, you're spending $500 for a space, and then that's it done.
Yeah.
And so, if there was a place where that was a little bit more accessible for the community, for the youth, and for anyone that's wanting to just grow, I feel like that type of thing is preventing from people actually getting more into it and actually getting to know themselves creatively. You know what I mean? So I feel like if there was a space that can do that, that would be amazing.
Would that lead you to like go into teaching essentially? Is that
A little bit of teaching. I don't see myself as a
Workshops sort of
like a workshop.
Yeah,
I'll just talk about the business side of it or how to use the camera. Like, I remember I did Nikon school.
Yep.
And I walked out of there and I said, there was like 2 things that I learned here. Yeah, okay. Those 2 things were cool, I guess, but really the majority of it I already knew.
Yeah.
Like 95%.
Yeah.
But the thing is that a lot of people in there had no clue even how to turn on the camera. I'm like, dude, what have you been doing? Like there's a manual, there's YouTube, there's so many information out there.
Of course.
What have you been doing? Just waiting for this call?
I think maybe it's almost gone back to what we were saying before, where it's a little bit of a lead in from what we know as old school thinking, where you must do this first, step 1 to step 2, step 3. Which sure, man, there are elements of that have to be followed in life. You know, you can't jump the gun. You have to work your way through and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to learning, 100%, man. And once again, I've experienced that across all 3 industries.
Okay.
Or sorry, 2 industries, but 3 professions. especially massage, for example.
Yeah.
I can read all the books and anatomy and physiology and everything.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put a human body in front of you,
Yeah.
who is different to the next person,
That's right.
things don't work what the book says.
Yeah.
And I found that quite cool because you're
Yeah.
literally something new every day.
Every time. Yeah.
But that's awesome, man. The space I think is a great thing
Yeah.
to have because it will allow you to grow and implement new projects and give you I think the separation of home, work, life as well is the biggest thing. A quick one on that.
Yeah.
Do you think, or do you have any fear that AI will affect your job? Now, I know it's out there and it can help with editing and stuff like that now.
Yeah.
But let's think Terminator drastic style.
Right.
Do you think your job in X years is affected by, hey man, I don't think I'm going to be as busy due to AI, let's just say?
You know what? I can actually say that for the same for DJing, man.
Sure.
Because, I mean, it sort of does exist. There's a playlist and you just put the playlist and it'll just automatically auto-mixing and syncing and beat matching and all that stuff. It does it automatically. But it's not that, man. There's a lot of human interactions that you never get from a robot.
No.
You just can't, man. Like, it's not going to happen.
I have I guess a little quote from my grandfather who passed away years ago, but he said, do a profession that can't be replaced by robots, right?
Right.
And that was the time of, once again, just for myself,
Yeah.
doing massage.
Yeah.
And he was making the point that had all these machines and breathing machines and apparatuses and everything like that.
Yeah.
But as soon as the physio came in, whatever,
Yeah.
and pressed here, I could lift my leg and walk. As soon as he let goes, I can't. He goes, no robot could have done that.
That's
for me,
right.
type thing.
Yeah.
And I fully agree.
Yeah.
Human to human interaction, I don't think will ever be mimicked.
Yeah.
Ever.
Ever.
To the degree that AI can get as
AI is a tool,
it's
man.
a tool.
It's a tool that can be
assist
used.
you.
That's right. That can just get some task done quicker.
Yeah.
That's all it is, mate. Like
it's extra octopus hands.
Yeah, that's all it is. Like I don't get why people
are scared.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, why? What are you scared about? Like,
but isn't that anything, right? Not just AI. Like a new camera, and I don't want to learn on that because I'm used to my stuff.
Yeah,
you're gonna fall behind, man, and you have to be willing to learn.
Yeah,
and be a bit scared, and
AI is gonna bring amazing. Like, all right, so Photoshop. I started dabbling into the AI generation. Right, dude,
crazy.
Like it's made.
Did you do the crazy stuff first?
No.
I want a lion standing on that.
I want Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking next to eating pie.
But the speed, like.
It's just incredible. It's such an amazing tool right now because I'm not a high end user of Photoshop, right?
Sure.
I know how to use healing tools and this and that. To smooth out skin, it'll take me like an hour to do it, right?
Sure.
But now, like, there's there's even Luminar, which is an AI. Luminaire.
Right.
So that smooths out your skin, that does your eyes, that can clear out the sclera.
It does multiple tab.
That's right. Copy, paste, done.
Over it.
Yeah. And then you're just pretty much, instead of photoshopping one image at a time, which photographers used to have to do, now you can just run it. And it does a decent job of it. You know what I mean? But so it's pretty much a tool, man. But even since then, like Photoshop, things that I would not touch. Like I'll just leave certain photos as they are.
Because it's the moment.
It's the moment, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, you know what? That would look a little bit better if the fence wasn't poking out on that side.
Sure.
And so what I did is I just selected that part, generate AI, bang, done. And then it just gave me like 3 options of the same landscape. And it was like bang, 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 done.
Yeah.
I created a foot from a lady. She was not like I took a photo from here and all I can see is your knees, right?
And you generated up.
I generated her feet and the rest of the couch on the floor.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I didn't think that was going to work, mate. And I created...
So that's just demonstrating the power, which is great.
Yeah.
And in some situations, you might need that. But I heard someone else saying, I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
They were just saying that the moment that you are trying to change. So if you've got a photo and it looks great, but
Right.
change the sunset, the background, the floor, whatever.
Yeah.
Even if it would look great, right? And it looks supernatural and all the rest of it, giving it to the client loses the authenticity because the client knows I wasn't. That wasn't it. So I feel like, and this
I wouldn't do it for weddings.
No. But I feel like that's almost a good dead end, no through road.
Yeah.
That where humans and AI stop and go.
Yeah.
That never happened. Therefore, I don't like it. There's nothing.
Why
to
is there a
cherish.
plane behind me? Like
And that untrueness of it is a great human reaction.
That's
that
right.
I think we have.
Yeah.
You know the term uncanny valley. You know, for CGI and stuff.
Yeah.
Where like CGI, it's all digitalized, but you're like,
Yeah.
it doesn't quite look right. And they always
Yeah.
say it's through the eyes. Whenever something's been digitally regenerated, when it just doesn't look right in the eyes, us as humans can detect it. It's almost like a great default thing that we have to understand the differences, which is great.
But I do see another side of AI, like those deep fakes.
Sure.
Like, have you seen
Yeah,
that Tom Cruise
I love all
guy?
that stuff.
Dude,
I love it.
Dude, that Tom Cruise, man.
Yeah. Do you? But once again, left and right of it, you keep your artist alive forever. And you can have movies, but you know that the person didn't do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Tupac in concert and the other stuff. It's happening now through holograms and whatnot. It has its place.
Yeah, like it's something cool. But you know what? I've actually been listening to other podcasts and stuff like that about AI, how modeling agencies are purposely using AI for models because it's just easier. Like they can just generate a background, they can generate anything. They have the model that looks like the same all the time, and they just put the clothes on it. And that's done.
That saves obviously costs, the time, modeling it, booking.
Yeah.
So pros and cons, right? Because that does take it away from models, as well as agencies and whatever.
That's right.
But left and right, man, left and right. But I have one final question.
Yeah.
Because I know you got to go.
Yeah, that's all right.
Amongst the business and the craziness that you and I and everyone around us do, what's your downtime look like? What's your switch off mode look like?
Dude, all right.
One's a weird answer.
An amazing question. This year, I made it my top priority.
Yes.
To look after my body, my mind, and soul.
Good
so, I've recently just quit Derrimut. I was just paying them money for nothing. I don't care if they hear this. I was going to I couldn't. Every time I went, no matter what time, it was packed.
Sure.
There was people not doing the right. They were just mucking. They were just stuffing around. They were just talking. It's a meeting point. It turned into that a little bit. Some of the machines were just not working.
Yeah.
Not to say that, it's still a cool place, but not for me, right?
Sure.
I lost interest. I was demotivated, and then I went to this new place that was introduced by a friend of mine, Anastasia, and it's called St. Haven, right? And this place is off charts. It's like a resort, and they do everything. They have infrared saunas. They have cryotherapy fridges. They do IVs. They do hyperbaric chambers. They've got a hot plunge, a cool plunge, the hammam. Is that what they call steam room? The hammam?
Yep.
Hammam?
Yeah.
The sauna. Pilates. So now I've been doing Pilates. I just did Pilates session this morning at 6:00, bro. And dude, Pilates is not easy, man.
It's underrated and
it's so underrated, dude. I'd rather boot camp. I'd rather do a boot camp session or CrossFit than Pilates. Pilates is hard, man. It is not easy.
Burns the shit out.
Dude, I thought I was gonna vomit this morning. Like seriously, I was getting dizzy. I was like, I go, wow, I've never felt like this, and I arrived late, so I got there 5 minutes after.
All right.
Don't even do like the full thing. Yeah, it was crazy, man. But
looking after yourself.
This place is much more expensive. It's a higher end membership, of course. Sure. You're getting a lot for it, but it does two things. It makes me want to go because I'm paying a lot of money for it.
Of course.
But it's also just in alignment. Like they have a meditation room, they do yoga, everything is there and it's cool. And then you know what I love about it? It's such a good idea. You have to apply for the class and you have to book
yourself in.
You have to book yourself in.
Not just rock up.
Not just rock up and just rush and try to get something in there. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I love about it.
It creates accountability because you're booking an appointment.
Exactly.
You're booking an appointment for yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right,
which
mate.
is a good model, and I agree to that as well, man.
Yeah.
Also, man, obviously, yeah, you're looking after yourself for longevity, number one. But also, is there anything like other hobbies that you do, maybe in the creative space, that essentially is your downtime? Because funnily enough, before you tell me your answer, a lot of people ask me, what's your downtime? Mine is music. Amongst media and cameras and YouTube. That was
actually one of my questions. What do you do to zen yourself?
Music, man. And people are like, all right. I go, yeah. And it's not music that you'd probably think I'm not playing bangers and house and smashing R&B anthems. Obviously, as you know, it's always very different to party stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, music soothes the soul.
Yeah.
Fitness, health stuff, just like yourself as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, music is just my de-stress and relaxing. Amongst, watching movies and chilling out and going for walks and all that type of stuff. Yeah. But music, I can just sit on a couch, music, go through tracks. And
do you sometimes go and do 80s, go through a phase where you just listen to 80s and just dive into that type of stuff?
And to that point, I should mention that it's not just listening to music, it's also researching. So I'll watch, the evolution of the Beatles and music studios, delving into instruments and how they're played. And I love that.
That's so cool, man.
So... Once again,
do you have a studio? Like, do you have the piano and beat thing? All that stuff yet?
I like that stuff, but it's more production stuff, and I think it's just I've dabbled in it. I think we all have to a degree.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I'll let the pros do that.
Yeah.
It's also a time thing.
Dude, it's
time. Yeah. I do have a keyboard, and I like playing keyboard.
Yeah.
I'd actually like to buy a piano.
I think you'll be really good at it, man. That's something that you could probably do later on, I see.
Production?
Production. It doesn't have to be anything fantastic. I got a friend that I don't even know how he did it, but he showed me this track, and I'm like, you did this? And he goes, yeah, man. And I'm like, I don't even know how you did it, but he did it in the wild, but he must have Logitech or something like that. Yes. I think it's just...
creating your samples, automated stuff. That stuff is cool, but I think later on, due to time, like I can't sit in a studio for 4 hours and muck around.
Yeah.
That's and the offset to that is, but you don't need 4 hours. Just do it for half an hour. I'm like, you can't. You can't, man. Can't that stuff.
That takes it takes me half an hour just to get to psych myself into editing.
Yes.
I have to do it for like 2-3 hours or something like that, because otherwise I won't do it.
You can relate it to your stuff saying, man, we should just do like 2-3 shots. All right. Set up your lighting box, your camera.
Takes me an hour.
For 5 shots and then what? Like, no. We're doing a full photo shoot.
Yeah.
We're staying here for half the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think it's good that you can still enjoy your hobby.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, a 2-part question to you. Do you ever just go out and take the camera and shoot while you're going for a walk or to the city? Or like, I'm sure you've done them before.
I have done it. I haven't done it in a while. Sure. I did it when I went to Europe.
Okay.
So I purposely bought this amazing camera, the A7R5 Sony, for that purpose. So I bought the new drone, I bought a new camera purposely for that. And I even bought I was going to do a lot more vlogging and stuff like that. I didn't get to do it. It's very time consuming, man. Vlogging is hard work.
Yeah, it's a job.
So I managed to do a lot of photos and videos, and I enjoyed that. So that was amazing. So yeah, I do it, not like just here around Melbourne, but when I go overseas, I purposely set those things for that. Yeah.
And I think that's super important, because you often hear people saying, you can't, don't forget where this all stemmed from. It started from a hobby.
Yeah.
Because you enjoyed it.
That's right.
And if we're too involved in our work on it, we get a bit bored.
I still do it, but at a different degree. So now, like, for example, it's just the techniques are a little bit different. So now, like, I know I can see something. I'm like, I know how it's done. it takes a lot of work into it. So that's why it's less. But when I do it, it looks amazing.
Sure.
Like it's a better image.
Sure.
Than just mucking around or whatever. So yeah.
That's awesome.
It's just a different level.
Yeah,
But sort of.
But you're able to implement it in different ways, like you
Yeah.
said. Whether it's here and straight gone to,
Yeah.
hey man, take a photo of my kid's birthday. Cool.
Yeah.
But I assume you'd be like, oh, how am I going to make this fun different
Yeah.
to the wedding or whatever else it may
Yeah.
be? Shoot different styles, try
Yeah.
different techniques,
Yeah.
and keep the
Yeah.
fun alive.
Yeah.
Of it, I reckon.
I think we're gonna need another session, man.
That's good, man.
In a couple of weeks, maybe we can bring one of the other boys, bring Kipper.
Yeah. Touch base
If
on
he's
a few
free,
things.
yeah, we can have a three-way. You know, have a chat. That'll be cool.
Yeah, man.
I'll close off the session with that. Thank you for coming and spending time
Thanks,
with me,
brother.
man.
Thank you.
Really
Always a
appreciate
pleasure.
you being here, giving me your morning, man. So I know you're a very busy man. I really appreciate it, man. Like, yeah, thank you for coming and supporting this podcast, man.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Much love.
All right. See you guys, and see you for the next episode. Dre.
You need your.
I know, man. All right. Next thing, I'll buy that.
It's awesome, man.